Hello and welcome to the CTO show with Mehmet. My name is Mehmet, and in each episode, I will be exploring the latest trends, insights, and strategies in topics like cybersecurity, digital transformation, emerging tech, startups, and entrepreneurship. From thought leaders and innovators to entrepreneurs and founders, who will hear from experts across a wide range of industries who are driving change and making an impact in the world of tech and business. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Welcome to this episode. Today, I will be discussing the latest announcement made by Google at their Google I/O event this week. But the topic is not only about what are these announcements. Actually, I want to relate later on to the bigger picture of what's happening around AI and what I'm calling it the competition to become the number one. What are the advantages usually for someone to have or to be the first mover? And what are the risks of waiting too much before following? And this would be more for startups and any actually the technology provider today. So let's start first covering the announcements that we heard about during the Google I/O event. So there were some announcements. You can go and check it, but the ones that actually I want to focus on, the first one is they have unveiled their new large language model version 2 of Palm, and it's have different applications including chatbots, content generation, and so on. So Palm 2, they are saying it's what is different from the previous one is lightweight, easy to deploy, and has more advanced technical capabilities. So this was the first announcement. The second major one was Bard, if you are familiar with ChatGPT, so the equivalent of ChatGPT is now open for everyone. So I had access because I was on a waiting list. I get the access later on, but now if you have a Gmail account, so you get access to Bard. They are saying it's smarter, it's better, it can understand more coding languages, it can do a lot of more things. Still, I didn't see that yet, so I cannot judge because I just tried before recording this episode. I tried to change some of the prompts I used to give before to see if I will get different results. And then I went back and I compared both ChatGPT with Bard. There were no major differences from what I saw before. So Bard, as per the announcement, I didn't see the changes they are talking about. Maybe we need to wait a couple of weeks before this becoming available. The third thing is Google now also trying to follow what Microsoft did with ChatGPT. So the Google search now or soon will be powered by AI. So this is something where the search of Google, the power of Google search will also be leveraging the power of AI coming together. So this is bringing the Google search back on track to what Bing from Microsoft is now available, I believe, publicly for everyone. The fourth announcement was AI upgrades to Workspace. So if you have been following what Microsoft did a couple of weeks back, so they announced something called Copilot. Copilot, which is an AI integration with their Word, Excel, PowerPoint, so mainly the Office suite. So we are seeing the same thing here. So where you can ask, for example, Gmail, help me write an email. If you open the Google Docs, help me write a document. And same with the other, I would say, components like the spreadsheet and the slides. So this was the other one. Also, there is an addition of AI for the Google Assistant. So it will be like more AI powered. It will have the ability to also be looking more like a human more than a computer powered assistant. So this is another one. And there are a couple of other things as well. The last one, which it let me stop a little bit. So they said we are developing Gemini, which is another large language model. And this is related to a project by Google called Google DeepMind. Now, this, as per all the articles I read, they are saying this is actually the equivalent of GPT-4 from OpenAI. Now, what is the difference here? Just shortly, the large language model that originally came out by OpenAI, which used to be called GPT-3, it just generates text. It cannot do any kind of reasoning. So if you are familiar again with a ChatGPT, if you open it and you go, for example, choose between the GPT 3.5 and GPT 4, you see there are like three, I would say, items that has like how much power you have in that. So if you look at GPT 3.5, the speed is very fast. Consciousness, it's weak. It has only two green dots. And reasoning, it has three. GPT-4, you see, reasoning is very strong. It has full mark, consciousness 4 out of 5, and speed 2. This is its slow. So what do they mean here by consciousness and reasoning? What they mean by reasoning and consciousness is the ability actually, when you give the prompt, to go and try to do some deep search inside the language model to give you what you asked for. In contrast with the 3.5, where you say, I need an email, it just get you an email. You might find a lot of mistakes. It's not accurate. So the 4, which has more reasoning, it has the ability to go think about, a computer powered chess game. So the chess game, how they design it, they teach in the algorithm, of course, how chess is played, and then based on it, it can calculate up to certain number of steps in the future. It's based on the difficulty you choose, and then it will play based on that. So here, the DeepMind project, of course, I'm trying to simplify it as much as possible, but this is what the DeepMind is. So the ability to go and do a lot of going deep, right, in the language model to get more accurate data. Now, what stopped me here is if they are still developing this, the language model that we talked about, which they are called Gemini. So it's very clear that still there is a gap between OpenAI and Google. And when I say OpenAI now, like Microsoft, they invested in OpenAI. So there is a gap opening between Microsoft and Google. Now, of course, there are other players that are coming out there. So I will share the links in the episode description. So there are new also startups trying to get into this. So for example, Hugging Face. So Hugging Face, they have something that you can use it. I tried to use it without an account. It worked perfectly and it's not bad. So this is another language model. Also, I'm trying to get access to the other one that is making a lot of noise in the news, which is Claude by Anthropic. Now, we have different vendors trying to lead the way, but honestly, I think, and this is where I talked at the beginning about the first mover advantage. I think OpenAI, they have the first mover advantage as far as we are seeing. We don't know if someone was doing something and we don't know about it. So the first mover always get the advantage. Now, I will relate this to a startup. The first mover always get the chance to get the majority of the market share. So when you get the majority of market share, it becomes very difficult to whoever will come after you to take this market share. And this is why it's important, if you are into something like AI, to have a first mover advantage. If you want to understand more about this concept, I highly advise you to read the book called Zero to One by Peter Thiel. It talks about this concept, why it's important that you come out with something, you lead with it, and then the rest are behind you. Now, coming back, so we have the first movers, and then what happens usually is the rest wait. They are waiting. They want to see how the market will accept what's happening, but waiting too much might be a huge risk. The famous example, when smartphones came out, you remember some of the phone manufacturers, they said this is not a project that we want to do, they will fail, phones will stay the way, or mobile phones will stay the way we know them. And we know what happened to Nokia and the other manufacturers in that space. So there's a thin line here of how much you can wait and how fast you act, actually. And it's very interesting moments, actually, we are seeing now, because it's very obvious Google felt a little bit that they are behind, although they were talking about AI a couple of years back. I still remember when the first time they were showing how the Google Assistant will be able to have a human-like voice, dial some shops, take appointments on behalf of a human, and everyone get excited. But after this, things faded out. Now, OpenAI seems that they brought up this, I would call it competition, who will be the leader in that space. The good thing is, cool technologies are coming out from this race. So we are seeing now like no time before, because everyone knows that this is the future. Like no one can deny that these AI technologies are just hype. It's like it's something that we are using it in our day-to-day life. They are integrating it with our productivity tools, communication tools, and it's changing the way we are working. What's interesting is now to watch how companies will keep reacting and where this race will let them push their limits to. Before I close, I just wonder, for example, what a company like Apple is doing there, because we didn't hear any major thing from there. We know that Amazon are trying to do something, but what are the next in AI? Because it's very obvious now that the technology company that will sit on the top will be the company that will move fast and will act faster. This is my view. I hope that you enjoyed the episode today. I tried to make it interactive as much as possible. Remember, if you are a startup and you think you can disrupt the market, act fast. Don't wait. Just put your idea, see how the reactions is from the market, and then move on. Don't wait. Just let it out. So OpenAI, they are very good in this. I like their way. Now, regardless of all the other things like the ethics part and the people who make noise, from purely a mentality perspective, it proved again that you need to put your product in front of the customers as soon as possible, which is fantastic. And we saw how companies who wait too much might fail on the long run. Hope you enjoyed this episode. As usual, if you have any questions, any feedback about this episode or the show in general, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you are interested to become a guest on the show, please also don't hesitate to reach out. I would be more than happy to discuss this on you. And if you are a first-time listener, please subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcasting platform. And until we meet next time, thank you very much. See you soon.